Entry 6. Time. My name is Canopy Hydrangea, and I work for a company that, studies cursed artifacts. On a good day, me and the team would be stealing weird gemstones and then taking a day off. But no, today went wrong. I ended up in a dank, moist basement somewhere. Actually, I don't think you can even find out where I am on the map. I'm like, somewhere else. All I can tell you is that I never made it on the plane. I was walking towards it, carrying the last of my luggage, when I saw this person in the woods, and I couldn't be sure if it was a mannequin or a person. But I ran to get to the plane, and suddenly, the ground just kept stretching over and over, and then I looked behind me to see a woman there. She had the mask on, the one with no features. But this time, it had ears, like a bobcat's. I felt my vision go stretchy, like everything was being shredded, and then I fainted. When I woke up, I found myself in the basement. There was a fireplace that was lit in the center, yet the flames seemed to be a color I had never seen before. It was like green, yet mixed with red, but also blue. There's no good way to describe it. At first, I thought it was a normal room, not a basement, but then I saw stairs and windows. The windows were high up, but I could see that they were at ground level, which meant I was underground, or in a sunken room. I was alone, so I looked around for a while, but couldn't find anything. There were these odd animal heads on the wall that had these pretty eyes that seemed almost too lively, like it was just staring at me, pretending to be dead, yet watching me. I tried to ignore that. I sat down on a comfortable sofa and just waited for anything to happen. That's when I took out my company phone. I hoped there would be a signal in whatever this place was. There oddly was. I found it perplexing, but I accepted it. I remember I had access to the body cameras on the team, so I accessed the application and, I found it odd. Hours had seemingly passed since the morning. I was watching Rainey interview some detective. I switched it over to Cassie's, but it didn't show anything but this fuzz. Not static, but this moving fuzz. I switched over to Quint and I saw that they were in some sort of hotel with me. There was an exact copy of me right with them, just talking. I had been replaced by a copy of me, or whatever it was. Maybe it was a mannequin. A minute passed, and then I heard this awful sound through the phone. It seemed like a high-pitched whine, like metal grinding on metal. It was painful, but it didn't seem like Quint or fake me could hear it. I checked on Rainey's, but I saw nothing but the same fuzz like Cassie's. I didn't understand it, but I was getting scared. I could almost see silhouettes through the fuzz, one that almost looked like Cassie. I switched to Quint and saw that they were locked in a fist fight with me. Or, the thing that wasn't me. It wasn't me at all. It was a mannequin with this triangular mask that was wearing my clothes. Quint, luckily, managed to defeat fake me, but as soon as they did, glass shattered and I saw more mannequins enter the room. I could only watch as what seemed to be a dozen faceless things circled around them and held Quint there. I tried to communicate to them, but the microphone option simply didn't work. Wherever I was, I could receive information, but not send. I switched to Rainey's feed and heard the voice of a distorted Cassie mock the team, like she was manipulating us all along. Then the screen went dark, and the video just said, "Camera unavailable." It was the same on everyone else's, except the dash cam on our van. That just showed me the circle of mannequins surrounding the hotel. I gave up. There was nothing I could do. Then I heard the door atop the stairs open. I turned and I saw a woman. A woman wearing a dress. A dress I recognized. "Well, hello there," she said, calm as can be. "I suppose you found out about your team with the cameras." Were you monitoring me?" I growled, standing up, ready to defend myself. She flicked her hand, and suddenly I found myself back in my seat, like time itself had been reversed. "No, I wasn't. But I have a way of knowing when things will happen. That's just how the Unity works." "Unity? What's that?" Well, for example, it's this place, she explained. Or at least, this is my domain of the Unity. You're in the cellar of an old cruise ship that somehow made its way here. I remodeled the entire ship to my likings. And you must be... That's right, Maisie Krylov, she introduced. It's a pleasure to meet you, Canopy Hydrangea. What am I doing here? I asked. Well, you're my victim. What? I snapped, confused. Victim? I mean, she began, giggling. Guest. The other me, the mannequin. Is that what you did to my friend? About that. Right. I'm, quite sorry about that. Maisie apologized. I was still in the early days of learning this place and, well, he needed a sacrifice. So I, ate your friend. He? Oh, you haven't found out about him? Maisie questioned. Who? Well, Claudiel, she explained. Guardian of time. What is this Claudiel? Well, for one thing, it's this place. We're inside the Unity, as I said before. And you know I found the Unity book, and that's where Claudiel was sealed for 1,000 years. He was under some enchanted tree, and he was very grateful I released him. To tell the truth, I'm quite glad I opened that book. Is Claudiel evil? Maisie finished. No, he isn't. This place is a manifestation of time. It takes and manifests things from all sorts of eras, and lets time do its work on them. If you leave my cruise ship, you'll find bones and ruins all over the place. Hold on, can we start from the beginning? I asked, more confused than before. Yes, that's a brilliant idea, Krylov agreed. She sat down on the sofa next to mine and waved her hand. Coffee appeared on the table in between it. Drink? Sure. I took one and drank it. It was delicious. Now, in the beginning, Maisie began. See, I used to be a treasure hunter. It was a hobby, and I was very lucky. On my first adventure, I joined a group of explorers and found this weird temple out in some island with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs? Isla Caseja, or something. But that was back in 1923 or something. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, I was hooked on the weird and strange, and I built myself a business of looking for artifacts and stuff. Isn't that dangerous? Yeah, but on my second adventure I found a ring that made me immune to harm. I still have it, she explained, holding up a finger. You can't get it off though. I used an artifact to bind it to my skin. I stayed alive all these years because of it. Little known side effect. By binding it to myself, I preserved how I looked at the time, hence my immortality. Wow. She laughed cheerfully. Eventually, I saved a ton of people from some weird octopus-looking things, with some guy calling himself the Hitchhiker. And the owner decided the ship was bad luck and gave it to me and the other guy. The other guy just vanished as soon as the mission was over, so I took the ship. And the ship? Is this very one? Maisie giggled. Cool, ain't it? Yeah, I guess so. Next, I got myself a crew. I didn't really have much money, and I was hoarding my stash of artifacts on the ship, and I'd never sell them to random people. So I hired the outcasts, gave them food with this cool infinite food artifact, and soon enough we set out exploring the seas. Sounds like a pirate, I joked. It does. We actually found a ghost ship on our first mission. In fact, the more cursed artifacts you have, the more likely you are to encounter the supernatural. But anyways, the crew soon learned what we were really doing, and most of them signed up. I had already built up this reputation of being creepy, and since they'd been hired, they didn't want to risk being branded a deviant or a witch or anything. Plus, life on the ship was really good. And then? Well, then more and more people joined the ship, and we even converted some of the lower decks into these places we could send smaller ships out of. We called the ship the Huntress, and we damn well lived up to the name, Maisie informed. Nothing could stop us. The outcasts of the world worked well together because they weren't treated as outcasts, but as real people. So, you aren't, like, cruel or anything? No, I'd never harm an innocent. I kidnapped you to help me, but we'll get into that in a moment. Okay. Anyway, over time, the ship became a generational ship, and we had children on board. It was all a bit weird with them on board, knowing the risks, but everyone just wanted to stay. Hell, we even set up a school on the ship. In fact, the descendants of the original crew still work with me. I can bring them into the Unity any time, and I can help them out. They have a similar cruise ship that hunts for artifacts. They work for your sister company, in fact. Company 7. That's good to know. So you're allies with us? Yeah, allies could work. Honestly, I don't care what happens to the world. I'm in retirement. But see, that Cassie White... What about her? She's a paradox. And the Unity, Guardian of Time, hates paradoxes. What do you mean? Let's skip to 2015. Or was it 2014? Anyway, I found the Unity book, blah blah blah, and accidentally ate your friend, like I said. This place was hungry. It wanted more, let's say, friends. Friends? It wants servants, or something like that. It's been sealed up for so long, it's forgotten how to manifest itself as a god. So it kind of used me and ate your friend. The Guardian itself, Claudiel, actually appeared to me, and I told him to put the guy back. But we, well, might have accidentally put him in the wrong time period. Oh. And see, the guy, he became the ancestor of Cassie White. Soon after we spit out your friend, James White, in the wrong place, this place slowly began to change. Small things, but they were noticeable. We noticed things being invented earlier in history. It wasn't supposed to happen, but we couldn't do anything about it. I have to stay in this place because if I enter the real world, history's changes will catch up to me. So you're saying because you made a mistake, Cassie White was accidentally created? Yeah, Maisie confirmed. The entire bloodline isn't supposed to exist, yet it does. But the thing about Cassie White is that she decided to join Watchtower 7. She found out about her ancestor, in fact, met him once, causing further time problems. She knew about me because of her bloodline's own legend about me. So she needed to be eliminated. Yeah, we needed to fix the timeline. More like erase her, but we couldn't. She had another lost book, one that she inherited. She became the opposite of time. Life, time. See, it decays things, makes life into death, corpses into bones. I see. The mannequins belonged to us, the Unity, at first. We used them to make a presence in the real world to track down James White, to somehow convince him to stop the mission. But it was like something else was influencing him. It was Cassie using her newfound powers to keep herself in existence. And since you couldn't stay long... Yeah, and we didn't want to bring James into the Unity because we were afraid it could cause more problems. So we just let it happen. We kept meddling, trying to find ways to stop time from changing again and again due to Cassie White. Because see, the Unity, it is the past, present, and the future. We're all on a set path, but the paradox of Cassie White changed the proper path. Fascinating. But whatever she's using, that book of life counts as time. We planned to trap her in New Varela, but again, mannequins. But what we didn't know was that the mannequin murders, they were all caused by the White bloodline to counter the Unity. They somehow knew we could control them. Why can you control the mannequins? Abandoned department stores. empty. The mannequins resemble decayed people. That sort of makes sense, in a twisted sort of way. They caused the murders to feed the Book of Life. Well, life. The mannequins were to slowly take over control. We didn't know until, well, when your team investigated New Varela, where Cassie finished the murder ritual and used the book to take over parts of the Unity. I see. Your friends right now are being held captive in, well, let us say, the anti-Unity. It's a place where things aren't lonely, aren't dead, a place where things are bright and lovely. But also, since it was once a part of the Unity, some parts are still lonely, off, different. So are you going to help me save them? Yes and no. I, a servant of the Unity, cannot enter that place. If I do, I will grow old and die. You, however, won't. What I will do is bend the rules a bit and get you to New Varela, which is now the anti-Unity. Sounds complicated. Not really. All you have to do is get Cassie's Book of Life and bring it to me. I'll know when to take you back. How do I know if you can be trusted? I questioned. You don't. For all you know, I'm planning a universal takeover. What? I'm just messing with you. In the end, time takes everything anyways. By nature, we are patient. All right. I still didn't trust Maisie Krylov. Then die well, Canopy Hydrangea. With that, she snapped her fingers and a doorway appeared in front of us. It opened, revealing the town square of New Varela. I stood and looked through it, then back at Maisie, but she was nowhere to be seen. With nothing else left to say, I went through the doorway into the cursed town of New Varela.